I'm Jeremiah Boucher, a commercial real estate investor with over 20 years experience. This show is designed to help you build your business, become a better real estate investor, and help you see opportunities that will keep you ahead of the competition. This is Finding Your Edge. So, been on a 2-week rampage, coast to coast, baby. You know, LA, San Diego, Atlanta, Miami, Phoenix, back to LA, and then home tomorrow. So yeah.
It's incredible.
Just, living on the road. Couple things. Went to a conference called Create down in Atlanta. Ken Jocelyn, he's an ex-preacher. The guy's just a kind of a motivational guy. Brought some great speakers, though. Brought the Bible Belt type energy, which, you know, I'm not in the terms of judgy religious, but the faith-based kind of energy of church and that Southern, you know, Baptist type spirit, where it was pretty funny and exciting to be in this motivational and entrepreneurial realm to bring that type of energy to it.
Oh,
so
yeah, that captures me. That shit captures me. I love that.
Yeah, and I'm so not used to that, so I'm glad I kept an open mind. And yeah, I'm not religious. You know, Catholics growing up is very clinical and it's very sterile. You know, and this was the complete opposite.
Nice.
So I had a real good time. But then, you know, I think the highlight of that was Ed Milet. I mean, I tell you, man, that guy, have you ever seen that guy speak?
Not live, but I watch him on YouTube all the time.
I was front row, right and center, and that guy brings it. I mean, I'm a big Tony Robbins guy, and this guy was right there. I mean, he has his own style, but it was that power. I mean, you just feel that charisma and that energy by the best speakers, and he's up there with the best.
Ed's got the championship belt, in my opinion, but he's that's just the way it is for me. He's got the belt over Tony Robbins, but I grew up with Ed, not so much Tony Robbins. So, but yeah, for sure.
And they're good buddies, and he shared some good stories about those two playfully going at it, and Tony pushing him to get into this arena and really scale it up.
Well, they're all disciples from Tony Robbins, and they're actually probably all disciples from Wayne Dwyer, Jim Rohn,
yeah,
and then whoever before that. But you know, that message, that certain unique message, if it can capture you, and you know, it can do some magical things to you and your mind, your body, your business, your personal life. So I love it all. Yeah.
I mean, there's an art and a magic to the best speakers and how they capture you with their stories. But the lesson, I recorded it on my voice notes, so I'll have to share that over with you.
Please.
But the stories, you know, when I listen to it again, when you're not in the heat of the moment and you're feeling the emotional intensity of the crowd and people yelling out like, you know, amen, brother, preach it, my man, you know, like speak it, Ed. You know, they had everybody, you know, down south, you know, chiming in. He really talked about a concept of selling happiness, and it's basic, but he talks about anytime that you're creating content, or when you're building a product or service, people want to be happy, and it's so basic, but this is, you know, he talks about the McDonald's metaphor of, you know, it's not about the quality of the product. It's about the idea and the hope and the vision of people being happy or going to this place. And this is what he did to his financial services product, is being able to sell families on this idea that these insurances and these investment options are going to create a more peaceful, stable, more loving, more abundant family. And he says that he does that by telling you about you, you know, what's special about you, and the way he can really, you know, I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah, let me tell you about you. Let me tell you something about you, Jeremiah. Yeah, if you can implement some of these things, first of all, because it's true, right? Like, I want to be able to tell my friends and my business partners and my clients, you know, let me tell you something about what I think about you that you may not know. And you know, you do those types of things. You practice and exercise those types of, you know, speaking points. Man, it makes a real big difference. And people go, damn, you really do care. You know, one of the things Ed Milet is probably one of the most powerful things he says is when he goes up and talks, he's like, serve them. You know, before I go, I'm opening my hands. I'm just like, serve them and love them. You know, I really want to love this person. I have a guest on, or I talk to somebody, or I'm on the phone with this person. How do I love this person? And how do they feel that when I am that way? And I think it's through energy, right? It's through being present. It's by listening. It's not just, you can listen. It's not just, you know how to listen, but it's wanting to really listen to that person. And so if you can do those things, I think it's incredible. But yeah, Ed Milet, boom, he does it all.
Yeah. And you nailed it. I mean, that's it. Like being present, serving with empathy and care and love. And there was another, so to wrap up Ed, I think everyone should take a look at what he does. I think the other point that he brought up is, how, and this, maybe it's just a emotional point of the story, but the way that he framed it, being on the edge of just giving in and giving up and being average, saying, I'll go to a couple go to barbecues on the weekend, a couple vacations a year. I can get by, and really lowering the standards because you just keep failing. And, we're all inspired by these stories about transformation and however it needs to happen for each individual through God or their faith or through their personal struggles or suffering, right? Or through family or this vision or purpose. It makes you think, at times, I know we all feel that way, where it's like, damn, like, why do I have to be so special? Why do I have to try to always excel all the time? And, it really comes down to, I think in my eyes personally, it's like this obligation to just be the best version I can be. And I don't know what it is. I haven't really thought about it as much, but it's just this, it has to come from somewhere deeper, and it has to be an individual choice. And you got to commit to yourself, and you're the only one. If you're the only one that knows, if you let yourself down, not anyone else, it's just up to you in terms of, am I living this life that is truly authentic to me? Or am I just on the surface getting by and doing what I think everyone else wants me to do in order to be, successful? And that's a deep conversation between whatever you believe in, you yourself or God or whatever.
Well, I think you are exactly what Ed Milet was saying when his definition of hell in a way would be by going to heaven, right? And, the almighty of whoever that is in your world, right? Telling you, hey, this is who you could have been. Let me just show you, if you would have done the things you said you were going to do, and you really freaking did it, right? And you really were the one, that Matrix of your family, that Neo of your family from the Matrix. Mm-hmm. Let me show you who you could have been if you really did what you thought you should have been able to do, and you're feeling it in your gut and feeling all those feelings. He's like, that's what drives me, is like, man, if I know what I can do, I know that I can stretch, right? And there's levels to this, but that's one of the things that definitely drives me. The other thing is, having a baby here soon, here in March. One of the things that I always picked up on from what they said, and this is going to be good for you, good for me, good for anyone listening, is that, things, whether it's your children or just, mentees, and we all have them, is that things are caught, not taught, right? Things are caught, not taught. And one of the main things he said was, and this is what drives me and why I'm okay with doing what I'm doing, is that your kids or your mentees, okay, or the people in your life will know when you didn't go after it, right? So they'll say, well, my dad or my mom, they didn't go after their dreams. Why should I? Right? So like, that's a big thing, because those things are caught by your kids and your mentees. That's not taught. They're going to see that. And so if you're not able to go after your dreams and really hit those things, then why would the people in your surroundings that you really care about think that they can, right? So I thought that was really powerful, and that's why I've told people in my life, hey, this is the way it's got to be, and I think you're going to understand, and I think you're going to appreciate what the outcomes are after.
Yeah, you hit it right there. I think that's one of the main reasons, besides having that internal commitment of, I'm going to make the best out of this life that I can make, and having the self-awareness that this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm interested in doing, and this is the impact I want to make. Now, taking these days off or sacrificing, some of your values or standards, it translates into how people respond to you, what you're truly communicating to them, not just what you're saying. It's really who you're being, and that being can just, it's an energy because people know, you aren't doing it, or you're doing it, or you're fucking doing it. And we're saying the same things, the same exact words.
It's pretty clear. I mean, it's your identity, right? So like you go around people that are high temperature, they're hot, and it. And then you start to, like, if you're at a 65, right? You think about temperature in a room, you think about like the heat. If you're at a 65, you go around a Jeremiah who's 110, you're not going to reach 110, but you might get to 80. And that's really freaking good, especially if you've been a 65, right? But what you don't want is be around, if you're a 65 and then you go somewhere and you go in a fridge and you're around 50s. And then you start to lower that temperature, you lower your standard and you lower your identity of like, oh, well, this is kind of who I am. And in case in point, like if you're let's say you're in a friendship or just a group or whatever, and you're constantly being told like, why are you doing this video? Or man, you're crazy for that. Or, hey, did you see the new news things about what Biden and Trump are doing? Like that shit does not matter. And when I see it, I get pissed off because I go, guys, those things create fear. And the last thing that we need is fear, right? Because especially when you're trying to hit your goals and you're trying to do something that no one's ever done before, the last thing you need is anything that might interfere with, hey, I just need good, positive things constantly. And if you're not going to be a part of that diet that I need for my brain, I got to get you out. I love you, but I need you away from me until I do what I need to do. So yeah, I think those things are really important. Like you were saying, I think it is this, whatever it is, the temperature, the standards, the goals, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you got to do whatever you got to do to get them done.
Yeah. Yeah, I am fully committed to, and nor do I even give any mental energy to anything out of my direct control.
Right.
Zero. I mean, literally, I have no concept of when someone says Trump, Biden, Obama, anything that has no bearing or reference to me. I don't even put the second of energy into actually listening.
Right.
So
right. I won't click on your link. I won't, you know what I mean? Like I just won't do it. I won't do it.
So yeah, and that mental diet's really important. That the more I learn and the discipline of journaling and talking through things in that internal relationship with yourself, if you have a therapist or you have whatever it is. I mean, doing this, it matters. The relationship with yourself matters. And so that I learned something really good about leading with love. And that's, typically not being from the Northeast, a phrase that I would ever, typically say, and I'm sure you as well. And then as a kid, I didn't have a lot of love and affection as a young kid, but I mean, my parents are loving. It's just, we didn't share it that way quite too often. But we talked to this guy, Vic Keller, who was a entrepreneur since he was 15 years old, built up a series of companies. Berkshire Hathaway, Buffett bought their companies in 2013, had a tremendous exit, obviously, and then also taught a lot of the training programs for customers, just the customer experience or the mid-level and high-level management training to translate that customer experience, that wow experience to the end user. And he had a multitude of companies. But it was pretty impressive that, this guy taught Buffett, and Buffett's really primary thesis is you buy great businesses and you buy great management. I mean, that is the essentials of what he invests in, period. I mean, he doesn't care what in terms of the stock market of what price it is in some type of special trading where he's going to buy low and sell high. He's looking at the intrinsic value of companies. And number one, the company itself needs to have that competitive advantage, that economic moat. What do you do differently than everyone else that is very hard to duplicate? And then number two, who is the management, and get out of their way. If they have respect, like management that's driven with good values, they're competent people, they have pride and they're experts in their craft or in their industry, and you empower them to do what they do and run the company like an owner. So anyway, this guy really taught a strong lesson about, being at the level I'm at, and anyone that has over, 5 or 10 or 20 employees, learning how to lead with love and with this compassion and empathy and empowering these people that are in the organization, giving them the bandwidth to be able to fail, to make mistakes, to, have the tools and the support that they need, because that's the only leverage that I have at this stage. And it's as a property guy, as a deal guy, as a sales guy, as a capital raising guy, the guy that you are right now in terms of your transition into building assets and building up a business, that skill set is quite a bit different than it is, leading and empowering and training people and having these meetings that are effective and productive, especially as I have other leaders in the company. So I'll let you know where that progresses. I know it's the right thing for me. I don't know what framework it is that I'm going to teach this through or how to follow this system. I'm sure that's why there's tons of MBA programs about different levels of management. I mean, it's been in American science for the last 100 or 200 years or longer, and been translated across to other countries in terms of the American corporate system, management system being duplicated. And there's pros and cons, but ultimately it's the next step. So I'm going to explore if this program traction is an idea that I want to take on, this EOS system, read the book and see. And there's a program also called Inbox Zero that I met the guys at this other conference in Phoenix, where, you have a framework, a rule of how you deal with email, how you deal with calendar, the Outlook calendar, how you deal with Teams or any platform that you're on. Because at this stage, it's getting really difficult and inefficient with all these different people going back and forth on different projects, different departments, different initiatives, and it's getting chaotic. And then it causes me to get out of my primary strength of being in flow. This was another thing I listened to in the last 2 weeks here is, being in this flow where you're an athlete, I'm an athlete. There's been times where we hit flow, and you're like, fuck, man, like I don't even have to think. I'm just so completely locked into what I'm doing and totally in my body and reacting and just on it. Like the right words, the right movements, the right decisions all come to me naturally. And when you're too mechanically in like trying to get through the training wheels of all these next steps of how do I do this? You can't get to that place. So I'm trying to do it in baby steps so that I can still remain to be a great, presenter or a great visionary, some of these different areas of the company, and still be able to actually take these visions and translate them across the company instead of being what Polish, this guy that I heard speak, he said seagull management, where you come in, you fly in, you shit on everybody, all these ideas, and then you just fly out, So, you didn't really help them all. You just got all your ideas on
your plate. Know those people. You know those people. I am one
of those people sometimes. Yeah.
I know those people. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Sometimes that occurs, right? But that's really good. I can't wait for you to go down that journey because I'm gonna need it. So.
I know. No one really wants to talk about it either, right? Where the rubber hits the road on every little project management piece and the different aspects of this industry that we're in. It's tricky.
Very tricky. Very tricky. And again, it's above my pay grade. I don't know. But I do like what you said about just loving the people.
Yeah.
For more information on commercial real estate investing, go to patriotholdings.com. Thanks for listening to Finding Your Edge.